Hello and welcome to week 10 lab of IS 222. Now this week is a continuation of the last lab. So this week we need to continue writing a variety of SQL commands in MySQL, and we will be building on the previous lab. So before we start with this lab, just make sure that you have done the previous labs and you have also gone over this reading on Intro to SQL from the textbook. Now from the previous labs, we have gone over some or all of these commands. And in this lab, we will be looking at joins mostly in detail. Now we are given the same schema once again as in the previous lab. So before we start with the lab, just make sure that you have all these tables in your database. And if you don't, then you can import the data from the Moodle into your Genesis server or your database, whichever one you are using. And while you are writing the queries, make sure to save all the queries in a text file and rename that as lab8.sql, and then you will submit that file in the Dropbox on Moodle. And there are some additional notes given here. Just try to have a read through this, and then we'll go to the queries. So before we write this query, let us have a look at all the data that is there in the customer2 table. So to see all the data, we will use the select command. So select everything from customer2. Okay, so this is the data in my customer2 table, and there is only one record. So what this query means is you find the customer whose code is 778, and then for that particular customer, you change the surname to Begio. Now in our table, we don't have this particular customer with the code is 778. So we'll work with whatever we have. So instead of updating this 778 customer, we will update this 10010. Now the command to update the table is you start with the update command followed by the table name which you want to update. So I want to update the customer2 table. So update customer2, and then you will write set and column name which you want to update. So in here I want to update the surname, and the surname column in my table is cus_lname. So since I want to update the last name column, that is customer_ last name lname, and what is the new value that you want to set? So equals. Now I want to set the new name as Begio, and for which customer do you want to update this for? So where the customer code is 778, but since we don't have 778, then we'll use this 10010 instead. So notice right now the surname is Ramas, and if I run this query and then select the data from the table once again, you will see that the last name has been changed to Begio. Number 2 says for each vendor list their products, and we need to list the vendor code, vendor name, product code, and product description for each vendor. And it says only if they have a product associated with them. Now in here it says not all vendors may yet have some product, so we have to use the inner join over here. Now before we join the tables, let us have a look at the data that we have in the tables. Now in here we have to select the vendor code and vendor name, so they are in the vendor table. So we are getting vendor code and vendor name from this table. Then there is product code and product description, but they are not in this vendor table. They instead are in the product table. So we have product code and product description over here. Now since the data is in two tables, then that means we need to select from both the tables, and to do that we have to use join. Now just as we have been doing joins in Microsoft Access, we have to use the same concept over here. Now there are a number of type of joins. So these are some of them. There is inner join, left join, right join, and full outer join. So what happens in a join is, if we are trying to join two tables, let's say table 1 and table 2, and there's some data in table 1 and there's some data in table 2. So if we do inner join, then we are only going to select the data that is common in both the tables. For left join, we will select all the data from the left table and only the matching data in the second table. For right join, we will select all the data from table 2 and only the matching data from table 1. And for full join, we will select all the data from both the tables. Now, if this doesn't make sense, then I have copied the data from the vendor table and product table in this Excel file over here. So this is the same data that we see when we select from the vendor table and as well as from the product table. Now in here, we have vendor and product. So our vendor can have 0 or many products, and the same is shown over here in the ERD. So there is vendor and product. So one vendor can have many products. And how can we verify that using this data? So if I look at this particular vendor code, that is 21225, then in the product table, I have product code and vendor code. So what this vendor code means is, for a particular product, that vendor is the one who has supplied that product. So if I look at 21225 and I search for 21225 in the vendor code in the product table, then we can see there is one report. So that means this product is associated with this particular vendor. There's another one here. So these two products, for these two products, 21225 was the vendor. Then same for 21226. If we search for 21226, then we don't find any record. It means this vendor does not have any product. So I'll try to highlight those products which have a vendor. Okay, so you can see the colors are matching. So in orange, we have 21225, and in orange over here, we have those products which belong to this vendor. So for 21225, there is 1 and 2. For 21226, there is no product. That is why none is available in this table. 21231, so there is 1 data or 1 product. 21344, there are 2. Then 22567, this vendor does not have any product. 23119, this vendor has 2 products, and so on. So you can see that in the vendor table, there are some vendors who do not have a product. Okay, and as well as in the product table, there are some products which do not have a vendor. So what the question means is, we are going to select for each vendor their products. So we will list the vendor details as well as their product details, and we will select only if the vendors have a product. That means only those vendors which are highlighted over here. Now in the diagram over here, when we say we select data that is common in both the tables, then what we mean is we will select those data that are linked either using the foreign and primary key, and those that have a matching values in both the tables. So for 21225, there is same value here in this vendor code. So we will select those for which these values are present in this table. So what the database will do is it will start from here, 21225, then look for that particular vendor in this product table. So since we want the vendor code and vendor name, so we will get the vendor code and vendor name from this table. For this particular vendor, this is the name. So we have that over here. And then product code, how do we get the product code and description? So we'll go to the product table and search for this particular vendor. So where 21225 is, right? For that product, we will get the product code and product description. So this is the code 23109 that is here, and the description is Flohema. So that is how we are going to get the data from both the tables. Then 212225 has another product. So we have again vendor code, vendor name, right? Same vendor code, same vendor name. And this time the product code is SM18 and so on, right? And the description is metal screw. So that is how we will get the data from both the tables manually. Now for the query, we will write a query to join the tables, and then we will see how we use the query to get the same data that we have over here. So query number 2. Now we want to select the vendor code and vendor name. So to start with, let us select everything from the vendor table. Okay, so we get all of this, but from this we only want the vendor code and vendor name. So we will filter down our result. So instead of selecting everything, we will only select the vendor code and vendor name. So now when I run the query, I only get the vendor code and vendor name. Now for each of these vendors, I will go in the product table and get their product code and product description if there is a product with that particular vendor. So in here we will need to use join. So the syntax of join is something like this. So you will select whatever you want from a table, and then you will say inner join. Now which table do we want to join on? We want to join on the product table. And which column do we want to join on? So we are joining the tables using a common column, which is vendor code. Right? Vendor code is here as well as in the product table. So we will match the vendor code. So we will say on vendor code from the vendor table equals vendor code from the product table. So one vendor code is in the vendor table and the other vendor code is in the product table. But when I run this, right, you will see that the query doesn't run. We have a error at the bottom. We can see in red, we have a cross and it says error code, and the error is column V code in field is ambiguous. And that is because we are saying vendor code equals vendor code. Now the database engine doesn't know which vendor code belongs to which table, because vendor code is also in the vendor table as well as in the product table. So it doesn't know whether this vendor code belongs to vendor table or the product table, or this vendor code belongs to vendor or product. So in here we need to tell that one vendor code is from the vendor table and the other is from the product table. And the way we do that is by writing the table name in front of the column name. So we will say vendor dot vendor code, and this side we will write product dot vendor code. Now when I run it, we still get the same error, and that is because we again have a vendor code that the database is not sure about. It doesn't know whether to get this from the vendor table or the product table. So we will say that this vendor code is coming from the vendor table. Right now when I run it, right, we get the data. So we are getting vendor code and vendor name, but we also need the product code and description. So along with the vendor code, vendor name, we will select the product code as well as the product description. So now when I run it, right, we get what we needed. So we have vendor code, vendor name, product code, and product description. Now in here, you will notice that we have followed a convention, that is for every column, we are writing the table name along with that. So vendor code goes with product and vendor code goes with vendor. Then same here, vendor code goes with vendor. But for these columns, we don't have any tables with it. So just to follow along with the convention, we will also write the table name from which they are coming from. So vendor name is coming from the vendor table. So I will write the vendor name over here, or the vendor table name dot the column name. Then for P code, that is from the product table. For P description, that is from the product table. Right now when I run it, we get the same data. But the other thing you will notice is the names are getting very long, right? We have vendor and product name prepended in all the columns. So we can simplify that using alias. So we will say, we will select all of these from vendor and we will give vendor table a alias name. We can say V, and for product we can say P. Okay, so this is just a nickname of each table. V is the nickname of vendor and P is the nickname of product. And now instead of writing the full table name, we can just write their nickname. So for vendor it is V, and for product it is P. Then same goes over here. Vendor it's P and for product it is P. Right, so now when I run this, right, we get the same data. And this data should match with what we have over here. Okay, so let's count the number of data that we have here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have 14 over here. And let's see how many we have over here. We should have 14. So at the bottom it says 14 rows returned. So first one is 2, 1, 3, 4, 4. And in here we have 2, 1, 2, 2, 5, right? The order is different, but the data that we get is same because we don't know how the database is setting the records. Now there's another part to this, and that is to sort the data. It says order the results by the vendor name in ascending order. So once we have the data, we can sort the data, and to sort, you might recall from the last lab, we use the order by clause. So it says we need to sort by the vendor name. So we will say order by vendor dot vendor name, and it has to be in ascending order. So you can write ASC for ascending. Run, and now you will see that the data is sorted in ascending order of their name. The output for query number 2 is given here as well. So you can compare your output with the one in the PDF. Then next one is number 3. It says list for each customer, their customer code, full name, and all of his or her invoices. You can use a left join to accomplish this. Now in here we are given that we need to use left join, but what if this detail was not given and you have to figure out which type of join to use? So it says list for each customer. That means for every customer we want some detail. So we are trying to get the customer detail and the invoice details. So if we look at this diagram once again, now it is saying we want all the details for the customer table and something from the invoice. So when we want all the data from the left table, we use the left join. So in here we are going to use the left join. We can also use a right join, right? It is not limited to left join, but we'll stick to left join. So customer code and full name is coming from the customer table and the invoice details. So let's see what is there in the invoice table. So this is my schema. So we have customer and invoice. They are linked together. So to begin with, let's select everything from the customer table. So we get all the details, but we only want the customer code and full name. So from customer, we only want the customer code, right? Run. So we are getting the customer code, and to get the full name. So the name is not in one column. It is divided in multiple columns. That is first name, last name, and the initial. Now just to start with, let us select only the customer's first name, and then we'll join it up using concat. Right, so we have seen how to use concat in the previous lab. So I'll just write it down. So in here we want the customer's first name, then I space, then customer initial, and then the last name. Okay, run. There is, it says unknown column customer initial because there's a spelling error in here. Okay, so now we get the customer initial, but instead of this query displayed as the header, we want the table header to be renamed as cus_ full name. So we'll alias that as this name. Now run. So we get the customer code and customer full name. And then along with this, we want their invoice details. So again, we will use a join. So the syntax is same as inner join, but instead of inner join, we have left join, and we are left joining on the invoice table. On which column? So there has to be a common column in both the tables, and the common column you can see is customer code. Customer code is in both the tables. So we will say on customer code equals customer code. Now once again, there are two customer codes, so the database engine doesn't know which one belongs to which. So we need to tell it that one of them belongs to the customer table and the other from the invoice. So again, we'll give this an alias, customer SC and invoice as I. And then along with this, we need to write the table name along with the column name. So customer is in the customer table, first name is in the customer table, last name or initial is in the customer table, and the one of the customer code is from the customer table and the other is from the invoice table. All right, so now when I run this, right, we get the same data as in the customer table, and along with this we need to select the invoice details. So the output is given here. We want the customer code, full name and invoice number. So after selecting the full name, we will select the invoice number. Now run, and we get customer code, first name, full name and invoice number. Now you will notice that for some customers we are getting the invoice number as null, and that is because a customer or that particular customer might not have a invoice. So a customer can have 0 or many invoice. In this case, this customer does not have any invoice, so that is why it is showing as null. For this customer 10011, this customer has 3 invoices. So a customer can have 0 or many invoice. So once we have got the data, we need to order the results in ascending order of the full name. So at the end, we will do a order by, and that order by goes on the customer's full name. So order by customer full name in ascending order. And so now the data is sorted in the ascending order of the full name. Now in here you will notice that for this particular customer, we don't get a full name, and that is because this customer might not have a initial. So there are ways to go around that, but for the purpose of this lab, let us remove the customer initial because the initial may not be present for that particular customer. And now when I run it, we get the first name and the last name. Okay, so the result for this query is given over here. You can compare this result with the one in the PDF. So I have done query numbers 1, 2 and 3. There are 4 left, that is 4, 5, 6 and 7. 6 and 7, they are very simple. Now for number 4 and 5, I'll try to give some hints. So for number 4, it says we can now extend the query attempted earlier with the results in figure 2 from question 3 above. So we need to extend query number 3, and instead of listing the invoices for each customer, so right now we are listing the invoices for each customer, right? For this customer we have the invoice. So instead of listing the invoice numbers, we can show the total number of invoices for each customer. That means we need to count how many invoices a customer has. So for example, for this customer 10010, this person does not have any invoice, that is why it is showing null. So we need to print 0 because that customer does not have any invoice. For customer, let's say 10011, now this person has 3 invoices, so we will print 3. Right? And the output is shown over here. Right? This is how the data should look like. We have the customer code, customer name, and the number of invoices, that particular customer has. And again, you will use a left join. The query remains the same as in question number 3, but in here you need to use some aggregate function, right? And that function that you're going to use is count. Then number 5, there is a list for each customer, their customer code, their full name, and total invoices. So this is same as for number 4. And then along with that, in part D, you have to show the total purchases made by the respective customer. That means you need to add another column to your result in query number 4, and that will show the total purchase made by that particular customer. And how do you get the total purchase? If you look at the schema, then you will find the purchase details in which table. Right? There's nothing in customer, there's nothing in invoice. The price details are in the line table. So we have line unit as well as the line price. The last column is hidden in here. So I'll select from over here. Select everything from line, right? You will see that we have line unit and line price. So in the last lab, we have seen how to get the line total. That means in here, you will need to join 3 tables. So you will do the left join on customer and invoice, and then whatever result you get, you will again do a left join on the line table. So this time we will have 2 joins, one between customer and invoice, and the other between invoice and line. So that was number 5D. So this is the final result of how the result should look like for query number 5, A, B, C, and D. And from here, that is a step-by-step walkthrough of how you will build up the results. Right. So when you get the data, make sure that your result matches with the one in figure 4. Then for query number 6, you will write a query to add a new column to the customer 2 table called snowfall status of the character type of length 1. So in here, you will use the ELTA table command. And for query number 7, you need to drop the customer to product table. Now we don't have customer to product table in our database. So the table that you are going to drop is the customer to table, okay? Instead of customer to product, because we don't have this table in the database. Now, once you are done with all the queries, make sure to write all the queries in a notepad file, right? Just as I have over here. So you will write the query number as a comment, then followed by the query for each of the questions 1 to 7, and then you will save the file as a .sql file and submit in the Dropbox. So that is all for this week's lab.